Hello, ninth graders. This is Teacher Krishna, and welcome to our biology class for week number 14. Before we start, let me thank you one more time for accessing all of these online lessons, and of course for completing all of the assignments that we have given to you so far. So keep it up, please. Before we start, let's just follow some general instructions. Get your physical book or digital book, access the Google Classroom, download your document, save it in your biology folder, and name it just as it is specified right below. And as we move, remember to take notes. That is something very important, so you can take into account the most important information that you find from here. It's always important to start with our end in mind. And for this week, we're going to study lesson number 2, pages 114 to 117. It's a pretty short topic. And our end in mind describes the roles messenger RNA and transfer RNA play in protein synthesis inside a cell, as well as identify how mutations can affect an organism. So make sure to keep track of that in your document. So how cells make proteins? So in 2007, scientists discovered collagen in a T-Rex fossil, and similar proteins are found in chickens nowadays. So this is very interesting to analyze. We are learning how cells make proteins, and we're going to take a look at it later. Well, basically what happens is that parents are going to transfer the proteins that originally their cells created to their daughters and sons. So that's why it's very interesting to analyze that once T-Rexes were creating collagen, and now we can find that chickens are creating collagen in their bones as well. So the protein synthesis. So the protein synthesis is basically the production of a protein. And cells use information from a gene in a chromosome to produce specific proteins. So remember that we studied DNA, genes, and chromosomes. But basically genes and chromosomes are going to specify what kind of proteins the cells have to produce. And protein codes come from parents to offsprings through DNA. So this is pretty much what I was telling you about. And here is a picture of what a T-Rex chicken will look like today. Well, actually this image has a purpose besides just making you laugh. It's pretty nice to look at it, a chicken with a T-Rex face. But pretty much, scientists have theorized that dinosaurs evolved through time. And basically, the dinosaurs that survived nowadays were pretty much birds. So one example of them can be chickens, but also scientists have mentioned like doves or many other birds. So how is it possible that they relate dinosaurs with birds like this one? Because of one more time of the proteins that they have found that were created similarly in dinosaur fossils and of course in birds nowadays. We're going to take a look at some generalities. So proteins are made up of amino acids. There are only 20 amino acids. Think of them as the letters of the alphabet. So something that I really like to relate to the topic of proteins are the nitrogen bases in the DNA. So remember that in the DNA we only have 4 nitrogen bases. So we just have adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. But because of the million of combinations that they have, we are all different. That's why we have different eye colors, different height, and basically everything is different from our bodies. So basically the same happens here. So amino acids are like the codes to create proteins. And because of the different combinations that we can have with the several 20 amino acids, we can create a ton of proteins. RNA is the messenger that sends the information from the DNA for the protein's production. So we're gonna take a look at it later, but pretty much what happens is that DNA and RNA are pretty similar. But RNA doesn't have the function of storing the genetic information, but it has some other functions that we'll see around, just like we see here. It transfers energy. So types of RNA, we have messenger RNA, copy the information from the DNA, and we have transfer RNA, carries amino acids to their ribose and adds them to the growing protein. So here we have messenger, literally. So what happens is that there is a kind of RNA that literally sends the information to the cell on how much proteins or what kind of proteins it has to create. So just like in Messenger, when you send a message to one of your friends, the RNA sends information to create proteins and kinds of proteins. And the transfer RNA helps to carry amino acids. And remember, amino acids create the proteins. So here we have a process that it needs to be followed that you have in your book, and we're going to go over all of them. So number one, mRNA or messenger RNA enters the cytoplasm. So keep in mind that all of this creation or all of this process goes in the cytoplasm. DNA unzips between its pair bases. Then one of the strands of DNA directs the production of a strand of messenger RNA to form the RNA strand. RNA bases pair up with the DNA bases. The process is similar to DNA replication. So right now you can see that the DNA has unzipped, and we see some letters in there. So from the double helix, we can see letters T, G, T, G, A. Basically, the colors green, blue, and red, which is state for the nitrogen bases that I told you about, thymine, guanine, adenine, and cytosine. But you can see that a plate that is right in the middle of the DNA, it has letters A, C, A, C, U, U. So here is the interesting thing. So here is where RNA becomes different from DNA. So the difference is that in the composition, RNA does not have thymine, but thymine is substituted by uracil. And uracil is going to pair to adenine, just like thymine will do if it were a normal piece of DNA. But remember, the difference is that RNA has uracil instead of thymine. Okay. So let's continue with number two, ribose attached to mRNA. So the ribose is something very important, and we're going to see later on why. So a ribose attaches to mRNA in the cytoplasm on the ribose. The mRNA provides the code for the protein that will be made. In the cytoplasm, specific amino acids are attached to specific molecules of a transfer RNA. And so you can notice that right here, the transfer RNA is bringing more molecules in order to pair up. But they need to go through the ribose in order for they to attach to the codification line that we have in there. Okay. We have number three, we have a transfer RNA attaches to a messenger RNA. So molecules of a transfer RNA and their amino acids attach to the mRNA. The bases on the transfer RNA read the message and pair with bases on messenger RNA. So in order to understand a little bit better, remember we have messenger RNA and transfer RNA. So all of the line that you see right at the bottom with a green base, that is the messenger RNA, because it copied the information from the DNA and it is bringing like the message about what needs to be created. All right, and you see that at the top we have like groups of three bases that are going around. Basically, that is a transfer RNA. So the transfer RNA brings other bases in order to pair up. But they pair up inside the ribose that is in both of them. One more time. The bottom line is a messenger RNA. And groups of three, or the trios of bases that are coming above to pair up, that is a transfer RNA. Please have that clear. Number 4, amino acids join in the ribose. So transfer molecules attach one at a time on the ribose and continue to read the message. The amino acids are linked together and form a growing chain. The order of the amino acids is determined by the order of the 3 bases codes on the mRNA. So just like you can see inside the ribose, inside that kind of waterish thing that you can see in there, we are encountering that the bases are pairing up. And A is going to pair up with U. Adenine is always going to pair up with uracil, just like it pairs up with a thymine. And in the second one, we have C with G. Cytosine is always going to pair up with guanine, just like they do regularly in the DNA. And lastly, we have number 5, protein chain forms. So as the ribose continues to move along, the mRNA adding amino acids, the protein grows. Once an amino acid is added, the transfer RNA is released and picks up another amino acid of the same kind. The protein continues to grow until the ribose base code that signals it to stop. The protein is then released. All right, so basically, you can notice that we have a change of different colors. We have orange, purple, red, green, blue, like right at the top. So that is basically the the chain of proteins that is being created. And it is being created through amino acids. So the amino acids are those balls that you see in there. So those little balls, when pair up, they create an amino acid, okay? So, and of course, they are going to create a ribose, right? And they are going to create proteins as well. But it all depends on the codification that was sent from DNA. Right, so now let's jump to your evaluation. Read and summarize pages 114 to 117. I already gave you all of the information in here, but it's always important that you reread the topic. Because it's always a little bit tricky to understand sometimes, but if you read it once, twice, or twice or 3 times even, then you're going to understand it way better. Access the Zoom session and participate in the discussion. And this week we're going to have a very fun game in Kahoot. So access the Kahoot game for an interactive activity. And the first 3 places are going to earn 1 extra point. All activities have a total of 5 points. So keep in mind that I will give you the code to enter Kahoot during the Zoom session. So I'm going to solve any questions that you might have. Then we're going to have the game in Kahoot. And then from Kahoot, I'm going to take your points from this week, okay? So thank you guys for coming to today's lesson. It's been a pleasure being with you today, and I will be seeing you next week. Goodbye.